YouTubers, welcome back to the studio. So tonight we are going to paint a turtle. Here's the one I picked out. This comes to us via PMP Art, that website that pits photographers and artists together, artists of all sorts, and allows them to collaborate on different mediums of expressing whatever the photos are that are on there. This one comes to us from Deborah Underwood on that site. It's a cute little turtle set up on a little log or a little piece of swamp, just waiting to be painted. I did do a little test of it. Here's how mine came out. We're going to do another one right here in the studio tonight, and I want you to paint along with me. So here we go. Okay, so here we go. Let's get some of the basics out of the way. Here's our here's our photo that we're going to use. I'm just going to set it up in front. Here's my drawing. I've done just a basic shape of the turtle. And here's my tools. I've got Princeton snap brushes, a 2, a 6, and a 2 liner. And I'm going to use an angled shader or a flat brush. I just don't happen to have a flat brush in this size. This one is a Robert Simmons sapphire brush. And the paint that I'm going to use is my little travel kit by Primo Watercolors. This is the classic set. I'm going to set it out here. I've got a towel, some water up here, and let's go. So I'm going to start. Should start up this way. Let me get you in just a little bit. There we go. I'm just going to start with some really light blue color up above our turtle. Here we go, just some pale color. I'm going to let that blend out. I'm not looking for a lot of dark, rich colors here. Just looking to get some basic color down. I don't need it super wet. I don't need it super rich, like I said. Just going to get some color. I'm going to put that on, and as I come down to the bottom, I want to kind of blend that in to a little darker blue here. There we go. I'm just going to blend that into kind of a, you know, Prima doesn't give us really a good color names. They just give us color numbers on their set, but I think my little darker blue here, in fact I'm pretty sure it's got to be, is ultramarine. And we're just going to go with that. We're just going to say it's ultramarine. There we go. Just going to pick that up and put it in here, and we've kind of made a seamless transition real quick with this number 6 brush. Really light on the paint from sky to water. And I know what you're saying. You saw the picture that we started with. There's no real sky in it. It's not 50-50. There's no horizon line, and you know what? You're exactly right. And we're going to color over most of this anyways. We're going to put some weeds in the back here. We're going to put some reflection in the front. We're not really going to worry about it all that much. Okay, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of my yellow here and a little bit of orange. Maybe just put a dab of red in there to orange it up a little bit more. I'm going to come in again real light. I don't want to get a lot of color in here. And I'm hoping that I'm using just a light enough amount of water, just a little bit of amount of water, that my paints are going to dry fairly quickly. They're not going to run together too much. If they run a little bit, I'm not going to worry about it, but I don't want it to run a lot. There we go. It's just an undercoat on our turtle. I'm going to take a little bit of our brown and I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow in with that. I'm sorry, yellow. I said yellow, I meant orange. I'll mix a little bit of orange in with our brown. That's going to be our undertone for our turtle's skin. All right, and again, real light. I don't want them to be very dark at all. There we go, because I want to be able to come back in later and put in the dark tones on his skin and the shadow line underneath his shell. So I'm just really lightly putting in some skin there, and a little bit over here. We can just barely see that leg sticking out back there. There we go. Alright, now I'm looking at it and got almost no wetness left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that skin tone, which again is just the brown and the orange. I'm going to darken it up a little bit. I'm going to get most of it off my brush, and I'm just going to add the slightest bit here to the shell. I just want to give it a little definition while it's still wet. There we go. That'll help to add that little bit of roundness onto that shell for us. If it runs down underneath down here, not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it at all. And you know what? While I'm looking at this, I'm going to mix up a little bit of brown. I had some brown and some purple in this bay. Move that over there. I hope you can see this well enough. I'm just going to take some of that real lightly, mostly water on that, and I'm just going to make a little bit of shadow for our turtle underneath there. He's going to be sitting on something back here, so we'll kind of let that go out that way. Just when that color's gone, it's gone. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. Alright, so now we can start to darken up a few things on him. So I'm going to take my skin color, I'm going to add just a little bit of brown to it, and I'm going to add just a little bit of green to it. So I had some brown and orange. I'm going to add just a little brown and green. Trying to see. Actually, I can't do it quite yet. I'm looking here and I've got just a little too much sheen on there for what I want. If I add it in, it's going to run all through here. So let me give it just a quick little shot with my hair dryer. There we go. All I needed was a tiny little bit. I'm not using much water at all. And I'm going to look at my picture and just decide where I want a little bit of shadow to go. Something like that. And I can't forget, he's got right there, or she's got right there, a nice red stripe, just like that. There we go. And now I'm just going to take my skin tone all the way back to the back. There it is. Good, I think that looks really good. I'm just going to put a little bit on his paw or her paw up there. Just like that. I'm going to add a little bit more brown to that same skin mixture and add a little bit more green to it. And I'm going to continue, I don't want that super dark, I'm going to continue to add a little bit to the shell here and there, and I'm going to lay down the paint in the direction that I think this shell curves. Okay, so if I think it curves back to the back, I'm going to make an arc going this way. If I think it curves up towards the front, I'm going to make a little arc this way. Just going to paint it just like that. I'm going to leave just ever so often. I'm going to leave a couple of little white spaces in between. They're not actually white spaces because we painted before on them. So at this point they're, I don't know, orange spaces. There we go. Just like that, and all of a sudden we've got a turtle shell. Now I'm not painting in all of it up here. I'm leaving a little highlight up there. I'm leaving a couple of highlights in here, and those are going to work for us. Trust me on this one. They're going to work for us later because it's going to look like the plates of where the shell come together or something. We're going to hope that the user's eye fills that in for us. All right, so now I'm going to take my ultramarine and my brown and put them together. That's going to make us a nice dark mixture. A nice gray, but kind of a bluey, browny gray. And I just went in and did his underside under here. And while it's just a touch wet, this is where we're going to let the wet work for us. I'm just going to put that right underneath the lip of that shell, and immediately you can see it adds a lot for us without us having to do a whole lot. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to take some of that color, I'm going to add it into our shadow back here. Just a couple of lines here and there, something like that. I'm going to take this opportunity to come back up to his face. I don't want a hard line up here. Just going to touch in a shadow. Not even a shadow, just a little bit of color up here on his head, underneath his chin. There we go. I think that's better. And now we just repeat. I'm actually going to drop down a size. I'm going to my number 2 brush. I'm going to make my mix a little bit darker. All right, still keeping it fairly soupy. Add a little bit more brown, a little bit more green onto his shell. Right on the outside where we think that shell is. And where he might have a couple of lines on there. I'm just going to add those like this. There we go. That's looking like a nice roundish turtle shell. Nice half dome there. He's looking good or she's looking good. I don't know which it is, but either way, I'm liking it. It's looking good to me. There we go. Just add in the details where you like. What do you think part of the shell comes down? A plate in this turtle shell comes down. Draw a line there. If you don't think there's one there, don't put a line there. It's totally up to you. Whatever you think is what's going to work for you. I'm going to add a touch more blue, a touch more brown right up in there. Got it a little bit wetter than I wanted. I didn't want it quite that wet. If I skew it a little bit more towards the blue side, it looks like there's a bit more of a shadow under there. There you go. And I left just a little line. So it looks kind of like, give him a little shadow under his chin there. It looks kind of like there's a highlight right along the edge of that shell there. Alright, now I think the top of this is going to be mostly dry. So I'm going to show you a quick, easy way that I like to put in grass. And we're going to put a little bit of a little clump of dirt behind this guy, and it's so quick, it's so easy, you're not going to believe this. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit of my brown, and I'm going to put a little bit of my green in it. Yes, I know that's kind of our turtle color already. The that's fine. You can mix a different color in there if you want. You can mix a purple, or you can mix a little bit of orange or red in there. You can do it however you want. It's not going to matter for us. I'm going to pick a point here, pull it out, outline around our turtle's head on this side. There we go, just to give him a little bit of highlight. We're going to come back and fix that a little bit more in a second. And now you can see on this side of the turtle, it goes right around. On this side, I need a little bit to draw that through the head. If that makes any sense to you at all. There we go. There's our little brown patch. Now here's what we do to make some grass. I'm going to take that same color. I'm going to put a nice drop of green in it. There we go. And I'm just going to take this and just tap. Tap right around, right into that brown. Draw that brown out. Just, I don't want it too wet. I want some lines in there like this. I hope you can see that. I should really zoom in here. Okay, let's see. There we go. I just want some lines. Get it right in that brown. We want that brown to mix in and draw up a little bit. There we go, just like that. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay? So what we've got right now is just a layer of brown with some green coming out of it. Right? I'm going to take my number 2 liner brush. Again, this is put out by Princeton. This is part of their snap brushes, I believe. Yeah, it is. All right, they're nice brushes. I'm going to get some nice green in it. Let's see, there you can see it. Just mixing that up. And I'm just going to go right from that brown, and I'm going to pull up. And what that's going to do, all of the lines that you had in there previously, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are going to stay, and they're going to give body to the grasses that are there. And you're going to put in these other ones that are just going to pull that up. Let's see. I do a lot better on a pull stroke this way. Just need to turn it a little bit. And there we go. All of a sudden we've got a clump of grass behind this guy, coming right out of that dirt. It's nice and full. And so now you've got some that are kind of brownish green. Go back in now. Just whatever your green is. Whoops. I got off camera a little bit. Whatever your green is, just go in with a solid bit of that color green. And it'll blend in. I know it might look a little stark, a little bright there. Trust me, all these colors are going to meld together. You can get these right around that turtle's head, close as you want. There we go. Right? If it looks too bright to you, that's fine. Work in a little bit more of that brown grass color, that brown green. Just like that, a little clump of grass behind our turtle. No problem at all. We started in that brown color, we pulled out of that brown color, and it looks like a whole clump of grass growing right behind that turtle's head. Okay, the only thing we have to do, I'm going to go back to my number 2 round. So I'm going to take a little bit of our color here. I'm just mixing in a little bit of brown. I'm going to make it brown and green, but nice and soupy. And I'm going to give us a little reflection, just a little back and forth, to go underneath our turtle. There we go. Now, there's the reflection of our grass. Just a little brown-green underneath it. Just like that. And all of a sudden, our turtle is sitting right in front of this nice clump of grass. Alright, now I got to slow down for a second. I love doing that. I could flick like this and make this grass all day long. I got to slow down for just a second. I want to look at our turtle. What do I need to do? I need to darken a little bit underneath that shell line still. So I'm going to add some more of our brown, a little bit more of our blue. Oh, I'm off camera again. There we go. We don't need to make it super dark, really. We don't. but I want to make that more in shade than the shell up above it. So I've got my nice color there all mixed up. Add a little water, get it nice and soupy. And I'm just going to come in, let's see, I'm going to start down here. Come in and just add a bit. There we go, just underneath there, just like that. That's looking good. We can add some extra shadow under there. You want to put a little bit on that hand that's down there. Perfect. We don't want to cover that up totally. We want people to see that that's there. Oh, I got a little too much water. I got a little too wet. Didn't tap off my brush quite enough there. Had a blob of water that fell off. There we go. Let's see, I want the shadow to come up. His head or her head goes just like that. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's looking better. So his head coming out of the shadow right there. Underneath that beautiful shell we've just made right on the top. And I'm going to do the same thing in the foreground that we just did in the background. I'm going to take my flat brush here. I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to do it down here again. I'm going to take some of my brown and I'm just going to put it right there. That's where I want it. Okay, build it up just a little bit. Clean my brush off to the side. I'm going to take my green and mix it in. Get a nice green brown color. There we go. I'm going to take some of that moisture out and just start building in some stalks. Here we go. And I'm going to go right over top of the turtle this time. Right down. I know some of these colors are going to mix and they're going to run together. That's okay with me. Let them get as happy as they want to get. I'm okay with that. Because when I come back with a little bit lighter green, it's going to go right over top. It's going to all mix together. And it's going to look, your eyes just going to go, oh, that's a total clump of grass right there. So here we go. I'm back to the liner brush. Move that just to the side. And grab and pull. Grab and pull. There we go. Just right over top. It doesn't need to go any particular direction. I mean, obviously it needs to go up. But if it goes off to the side one way, so be it. If it goes off to the side the other way, so be it. We just make it go down in that brown patch, inside that dirt, and pull it out. Got a couple longer ones in there. Good, good, good. I'm going to add in a little extra green. You can put in a little yellow if you wanted in that foreground, make it a little brighter. That would be fine too. Watch this. There you go. Now you got some brighter green grass. Don't be afraid to put some in front of that. Maybe it's growing just, just off of that little patch in the water. There you go. Just some basic straight lines. There we go. Now, back to my number 2, just like we did before. Gonna make it a little bit of brown, not too thick. And I'm gonna put in a little reflection, just back and forth, just in front. All right, you can blue that up a little bit if you want. Right? Be careful how you do it. If you get like equal proportions of brown and blue, it is a pretty strong dark. So you might have to be careful with it a little bit, but you could do some in there. And there you go, we're almost done. I think what I'm going to do at this point, the head of my turtle is just about dry. I'm just going to draw in his mouth and an eye. There you go. And if you wanted to, you could take and you could draw in the lines on his shell. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I am just going to sign this. And I'm going to call it done. I think this is a fine little painting. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope you got the sense of some depth in your painting with the turtle in the middle and a clump of grass in front of him, behind him. I had a great time painting with you. I thank you for coming and seeing me in the studio tonight. I hope to paint with you again. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.